This is the soundtrack to your success. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to have permanent momentum in your life. I firmly believe you are not meant to live the same day over and over and over again. You're not meant to stay stuck. You're not meant to keep repeating a pattern endlessly. But no, you are meant to continually live in momentum. And I'm going to do everything in my power to support you in getting there today. Welcome in, family. This is RAVE Church, Volume 17. Leave a comment here if this is your first time hearing my voice or your first time at RAVE Church. And welcome in, welcome to church, welcome to the most fun, the most electric, the most groovy church on the planet, if I do say so myself. I do indeed have a feeling that tonight is going to be a good night, today is going to be a good day. We are here, as we always are, to inspire you to the sound of some dance music, some of our favorite music. I'm in the room and in the mix with DJ Brian Neville. Shout out Brian for always co-creating with me. And like I said, it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good mix. It's RAVE Church 17. If you're on YouTube, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure that you are following the show. Don't miss a moment. Don't miss an episode. It's the Stephen Lovegrove Show. It's RAVE Church, coming to you live from the City of Angels. And feel free to take a second and let us know in the comments, where are you tuning in from today? Where are you joining us underneath the disco ball? I really do have a feeling about this one, family. I was telling Brian right before we got started, this message has been on my heart and in preparation for quite some time. I would say the seed of it goes back to August of last year, and I have been really thinking about it and preparing for it, especially since January of this year. And I am ready to share with you today. Say hello if you're on the treadmill or the Stairmaster. Say hello if you're at the pool. Say hello if you're in the living room. If I can dance in a living room, so can you. Say hello if you're in the car. Say hello if you're on a flight. Say hello if you're in the kitchen making breakfast before school. If you're lifting some weights, if you're working on a project, wherever you are, I am so grateful to be with you. This is my favorite part of the week. And I just want to encourage you right where you are today. You're not hearing this by accident. You're hearing this on purpose. You're hearing this for a reason. And I am certain God has amazing things in store for you. I am certain there is something for you in this mix, a message for you here today. You have something to offer the world that nobody else can bring the same way you can. We need your message. We need your gift. We need your passion. We need your calling in the mix. We need you. We need you. We need you, family. Thank you for being who you came here to be. Thank you for doing what you are uniquely called to do in the way that only you can do it. I do have a little confession to tell you as this fun, nostalgic mashup plays here. At the time of this recording, it is the premiere day of Love Island USA. Brian, you're not into that kind of thing, unfortunately, but you can let me know in the comments, family. Don't leave me stranded here. Come on, Just Dance and Stereo Love. I used to go to Zumba classes once upon a time that played this song. Don't ask me what I was doing at Zumba, but I don't really know. But I loved Just Dance, and I loved Stereo Love. Turn it up, Rave Church family. Don't actually turn it up here. It's so loud in this. I love it. But turn it up where you are, if you can safely do so, family. We are cranking it. We are alive, feeling free, feeling grateful, feeling blessed. Rave Church, Volume 17. So as I said, it is Love Island premiere day. Let me know in the comments if that means something to you as well. And I haven't watched yet. I'm excited to watch, but I am postponing that because I had to record Rave Church, and I was so excited to record this mix with this message for you. And so I just want you to know, this is bigger, better, more important to me than Love Island, family. Okay? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're here together. And I am excited for Love Island, but I'm more excited to be sharing this moment with you. I hope this mix is filling you with energy, making you smile, making your day a little bit better and brighter, right where you are. You know, I'm going to shamelessly invite you to share this mix right now. And for whatever reason, this is what I felt led to do today. I'm going to invite you not just to share it broadly on social media, but would you actually take a second, be open to intuitive guidance, and maybe think about, let somebody come to mind, let a name drop into your awareness. Who do you want to join you for Rave Church today? Who can you send this to that could use the infusion of energy and encouragement? And by the way, I am obsessed with this Malpe track. It is so groovy. I cannot stop listening to it. But again, I'm going to shamelessly invite you to share. And Brian, I was thinking about this week. There's a TikToker named Jack Inanen. Let me know in the comments if you're also a fan. Oh, it's so groovy. I can almost not talk over it because I just want to move. But yes, there's a TikToker, Jack Innanen, and he's now on this show called Adults on FX and Hulu. Great show by my personal taste. Do not watch with strict parents, though. But anyway, I thought it was so adorable. Jack was making TikToks, basically in cheeky, fun ways, asking people to make edits of him and the show and all these things. And he had this hilarious TikTok, and I don't cuss, especially on Rave Church, because a lot of little kiddos are grooving and listening with their parents. So I'm going to censor it. But essentially, he made this TikTok, and he said, I cannot believe I've been on this app for 6 years. I have a show out and still no edits. What was the point of me doing that beep, beep, beep show? People, make some edits. And the internet responded. The people love him, the people love Malpi, but they made some edits. And I just wanted to share that because, in all seriousness, I think there's a lot of people that almost have this fantasy that, like, I'm going to reach the point where I never have to share. I'm going to reach the point where I never have to self-promote. Isn't that a fantasy, Brian, for artists and actors and creatives and influencers and entrepreneurs? And people sometimes have this fantasy that, like, I'm going to get to this point where it all just happens automatically and I don't have to do that cringe stuff and I never have to promote. And what if that's made up? What if that's silly? What if that's not actually a real goal to begin with? So I just felt led to share that for the benefit of any creative, any creator, any entrepreneur out there who needed a little push. Please promote yourself, your thing, your work. Please put it out there. Please don't feel shy or apologetic about that. If Jack can be very beloved and have a literal show and still get on camera and say, can you guys make some edits? You can share. And I'm here today asking you to share the magic of Rave Church with somebody. Thank you for sharing, and as always, thank you, partners. Your giving makes all of this possible, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I already teased this, but the theme I want to talk about today is how to live in permanent momentum for the rest of your life. Give me a yes in the comments if you're a yes to that. I know we're going through a couple different genres and styles, but this is truly bangers only, or as that song says, heaters only, as we start off today, Brian. Not a single skip. It would be bad if there were skips because I chose the songs, but in the songs that I chose, can you believe? No skips. But permanent momentum, I'm not exaggerating. That's not just clickbait. I mean it when I say permanent momentum for the rest of your life is what I want to talk about today. And I want to suggest to you that won't be automatic, but it is available. Sometimes I think people give up on something, that they quit on it too soon, or they conclude that maybe it's not meant to be because it wasn't instant or because it wasn't automatic. And my God, is this a word for somebody today? Don't give up on it because it wasn't instantaneous. Don't conclude that it wasn't meant to be just because it wasn't instant or automatic. And so I want to suggest to you, momentum is not necessarily going to be automatic in your life at any point, but it is always available. It is always, always, always available. And family, I want you to have permanent momentum in your life. I'll actually mention here, before we fully dive into the topic, there's a teaching I did a while back that has kind of become a favorite of some people in this community. And the episode is all about 3 things that I do every single day, or at least strive to do, that I try to attempt to do every single day to support myself. And I feel like that teaching is relevant to bring up here. We'll link it below. Somebody comment and remind me if I forget. So we're talking today about permanent momentum in your life. And I want to use an analogy that actually is very fitting for Brian, who, fun fact, is a pilot. And so we were just talking about the corrections people like to give, like to so generously share in the YouTube comments earlier. And so if I get anything wrong about the science of flight, Brian can leave a correction, a helpful little comment of correction on YouTube. But I want to use the picture of flight, the analogy of flight, the imagery of flight as we talk about some principles today. Because interestingly enough, did you know it's actually not a miracle, so to speak, for a plane to take off? It's science. It's principles. It's humans putting something that we understand into practice. Do you hear what I'm saying, family? Though it might be mind-blowing, and certainly to a human being from 500 years ago, it would be mind-blowing for sure. Despite that, for a plane to take off, it doesn't actually take a miracle. It just takes science. It just takes laws in motion. It just takes an understanding of principles. You know, to me, the interesting thing specifically about flight is that when you start to look into the science of what makes it possible, because again, it's not actually a miracle as much as it is science, interestingly enough, you discover there are laws that make it work. But it also feels like when you really study it, there are laws that seem to be in the way. And I started learning about this equation and being fascinated by it. I discovered that if you're going to successfully fly, you will have to work with the right laws in the right way. It's not just enough for certain laws to exist. If you're going to successfully fly, you will have to work with the right laws in the right way. And I want to suggest to you today, the same is true on a metaphysical level, on a spiritual level. You know, one text says, you are heir to the laws of the world you identify with. Take a second and sit with that one. You are heir to the laws of the world you identify with. You know, one way to say that very simply would be, what if we're not all actually playing by the same rules? And I don't just mean because some people are born into a certain family or with privilege or with advantages, but beyond all of that, on a deeper level, what if it is true we're not all operating with the same rules, because you are heir to the laws of the world you identify with. And if that's true, wouldn't you want the best possible laws in your equation and consciousness? I remember this concept started to make sense to me when years ago I heard T.D. Jakes say, grace is a higher law than karma. And something clicked for me when I heard that, because it's like it made me realize, okay, karma is in fact a law, is in fact this universal principle that we can observe, and it is real. But it's not the only law. It's not the highest law. He said grace is a higher law than karma. And there is so much I could say about that. I don't have time. I don't have space. But you might want to go back through the series that is on my channel of 77 Days of Grace. I have to just take a second here, because some of you are stuck in only karma, only achievement, only cause and effect. And you don't know what to do when you fall short. You don't know what to do when you mess it up. You don't know what to do when you make a mistake. And this is not my main message. This is not my focus today. But somebody needs to hear that grace is a higher law than karma. There is a grace there to catch you. There is a grace that exists in this universe for you. There is a grace that exists even when you blew it, even when you made the wrong decision, even when you did the thing that you knew was wrong. And in one text, it is written, if you have been forgiven, you have everything else, and you have indeed been forgiven. Somebody needs to breathe in grace today. But I heard that quote, that grace is a higher law than karma. And over time, I started to realize it's not just one law. There are multiple laws. It's not just one law. In this universe, there are multiple laws. And maybe the question we want to be asking is, what is the highest law available for me to use here? In this situation, in this circumstance, in this area, maybe we want to ask, what is the highest law available? And so I want to talk about flight today and the laws that make flight possible. I want to read you a couple of ancient texts that invite us into this picture of flight. One says, who are these who soar like clouds, flying like doves into their portals? I want to speak over us, family. We are the ones who soar like clouds. We are the ones who believe. Another text says, those who trust in God will experience divine strength. They will rise up on wings and soar like the eagles. I want to invite you into that today, experiencing divine strength, rising up and soaring in this season. I want to suggest to you today that living with God, co-creating with God, being on a divine adventure of faith is a lot like flight. And so we're going to talk about flight today and the laws that make flight possible and the connection to you and your momentum. Now, there's two laws I'm going to get to in a second, but before I get there, I want to point this out. Brian, again, you can give me corrections in the comments if I say any of this wrong or inaccurately, but as I understand it, when it comes to flight, at first, it's not just about speed. It's even before it can be about speed or height or distance, it must be first about precision. And that's tough for people because technical instruments are not exciting. Following rules and structure is not always exciting. Making sure to be precise and getting it right is not always exciting, but as I understand it, it's not about speed at first, it's about precision, and there's a message in there for somebody today. The idea of being in motion certainly has some value. But I have to ask, family, how valuable is that motion going to be if it turns out that you were on the wrong freeway, going the wrong way, in the wrong direction? If you just frantically start moving without precision and direction? Could it be you're just setting yourself up for a crash? Before we can take off, before we can go anywhere, before we can bring speed and height into the equation, could it be that precision matters, direction matters, knowing where we want to go matters? And I want to speak over somebody today. It's worth it to get still. It's worth it to be intentional. It's worth it to make sure that you're moving with purpose, moving with clarity, moving in a divine direction. One of the things I've learned and had communicated to me about flight is that you're not really making calls impulsively by what you see right in front of you, but you're going by something deeper, and you're trusting your skills, and you're trusting your tools, and you're trusting your instruments. And I want to speak to this because some of you are living your life in reaction mode, from one reaction to the next, from one distraction to the next, from one problem that your mind picks up to the next. And I pray that this is the year you stop going by what you see in the moment. I pray that this is the year you stop letting one thought, one trigger, one mood throw you off for the rest of the month. I pray that this is the year that you start operating from something deeper. And so there are two laws of flight that I want to focus on today in this mix. Number one, and somebody can type this out in the comments if you're not on a treadmill or holding some dumbbells right now. Number one is the law of lift. The law of lift. When the pressure beneath is greater than the pressure from above, scientists would tell us, hopefully pilots would confirm, that creates lift. Number one, the law of lift. And I really want you to see this theme all the way through today, because I've never really taught it in this way before now, that with both of these laws, we have this phenomenon happening where there's a higher law overcoming a lower law. And as we walk through both of these, I'm going to make sure you understand what I mean. A higher law overcoming a lower law. So number one is the law of lift. Brian, do you know what the lower law is? That lift means we're going to overcome. Correct. You have won this game show. I do not know what the prize is. I did not plan well there. But yes, number one is the law of lift, and the lower law is the law of gravity. Now, get nerdy with me for a second here, okay? Gravity exists because the scientific law of universal gravitation says, my God, that was the nerdiest sentence I've ever read in RAVE Church. The law says there is a force which causes any two bodies to be attracted to each other proportionally based on their individual properties. Now, I'm not going to get deep into the principle of gravity here, but I have to pause here for a second and say, what if we just accepted gravity as the end-all, be-all, final law and never questioned it? Can we take a moment? I know it's not a miracle as much as it is science, but isn't it wild to think about? There were human beings who refused to accept gravity as the final principle, and they found a higher law. And I just want to speak over every single person today. Let me know in the comments if you receive it. There is a place in your life where up until now, you have accepted the status quo. You have accepted the way that it's always been. You have accepted what your parents told you. You have accepted what you saw modeled in childhood. You have accepted the level you've been at in your business thus far. But beginning today, beginning right here and now, your eyes are opened to recognize there's a greater possibility available. And so somewhere along the way, somebody discovered there is the law of gravity, but there's also the law of lift. See, the law of gravity is what describes the pressure that would push the plane down onto the ground. But the law of lift says that's not the only thing in the equation. That's not the only option. That's not the only possibility. Yes, there is a force, a law of pressure that would pull the plane down. But the law of lift says we can work with the law. And there can actually be a pressure that lifts the plane and takes it higher. And so now I want to talk about you and your life, but beneath the science, okay, family? I want to talk about lift versus gravity when it comes to you and your life. And I want you to ask, which is winning out in my life? Because again, when we talk about the law of lift, there's two directions of pressure. There's the pressure beneath that lifts, and the pressure from above that grounds. And I believe as human beings, we all have both of these possible forces in the mix. And so we have to figure out which one is gonna win out. But we are energetic beings at the core. We are always being pulled somewhere. And if gravity is winning, I don't mean on a physical level, because we're not flying, unfortunately, tonight. Honestly, let's throw that out there, Brian. I would love to do a mix of Rave Church from a private jet. That would be fantastic. And if you're listening to this and you can make that happen, let's talk. But as of right now, we are high up. We are 23 stories up, but we're not actually in flight. But if gravity is winning, again, not physically, but energetically, what that means is that the most dominant force in your reality is pulling you down. And I want to speak to this because I think that is true for a lot of people out there. The most dominant energy in their world is a negative one. The most dominant energy in their life is pulling them down, and the gravity is winning. And I want to say here, please don't be hard on yourself. Please don't judge yourself. If you heard that and thought, I feel like that does describe my reality, Stefan, because many of us were taught to just expect that because it's what we were raised with and all that our parents knew and what they always lived in. And by the way, spiritual texts actually indicate this is the experience people end up having when they live in separation, disconnected from their source. That this is actually what naturally ends up happening. Physically, spiritually, energetically, mentally, psychologically. I was trying so hard to remember this word. I'm pretty sure in the middle of my prayer right before we recorded, I couldn't remember the word to save my life at that point. But I remember the word now. It's entropy. Yes, thank you. It's entropy. And if you are familiar and you're smarter than me and you remember that vocab word from science, have you noticed, family, entropy is not just a natural law, but entropy describes a lot of what we experience as humans as a real phenomenon energetically. Here's what I mean by that. Have you noticed somehow it's easier to eat potato chips than to go to the gym? What if it was the opposite? Wouldn't that be nice? Have you noticed on a slightly deeper level that it is easier to react impulsively when somebody pisses you off or triggers you, that it's easier to react impulsively than it is to respond consciously? Why is that? It's energetic entropy. I once heard someone say, if you want to ensure that you get low quality results in your life, just do nothing. And I pray that we recognize this truth today, because it's an important human truth to recognize that if we just do nothing in the equation, it doesn't seem to get better. If we just do nothing, it doesn't seem to change in the positive. If we just do nothing, things get worse, not better. And it feels like there's this force that's not working for us. This energy, this force that's pulling us down. And if we do nothing, the relationship gets worse, not better. And if we do nothing, our finances get worse, not better. And if we do nothing, our spiritual connection gets worse, not better. And when I say do nothing, I'm not talking about stillness. I'm not talking about meditation. I'm not talking about rest. But do you see what I mean? This energetic entropy, this energetic gravity. And yet again, when we talk about the law of lift, I want us to understand there's actually two kinds of pressure here. And it's not just bad. I feel like this sounds controversial, but maybe somebody needs to hear it today. What if there's a good kind of pressure? A pressure that comes from purpose, a pressure that comes from destiny, a pressure that comes from who you really are. And maybe pressure is the wrong word for it. Maybe pressure is the science word and not the right way to say it energetically. But what if there's actually a force that pulls you higher? And if there is, what if you don't have to be afraid of that? What if you can actually consciously, deliberately lean into that See, I made this observation with weight and pressure and resistance over the years. If you don't deliberately choose your own, life somehow chooses for you. And so I think there's something to this. You can run into the discomfort yourself, or life will choose discomfort for you. You can pick up something heavy yourself in a way that you choose to grow and be better, or life can choose something for you. But family, I want you to hear me on this. This principle is why I am so deliberately optimistic in my life. It's not an accident, and it's not just my personality, and it's not just how I'm wired. It's something I do intentionally. It's something I choose again and again and again. Because I know if I don't choose it, there's a force that's going to pull me down. I know if I do nothing, it's going to get worse, not better. I know that if I don't deliberately choose it, the gravity will kick in. And it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's not that I'm operating in fear. It's just wisdom, because I've learned and I understand lift versus gravity. I don't want to let the gravity win when flight is an option. I don't want to let the gravity win when I can soar. I don't want to let the gravity win when I can fly, but it's a choice that I make again and again and again, and it's a choice that I'm here to tell you you can make. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. Lift versus gravity. And like I said, this is why I am so deliberately optimistic, because I refuse to let something outside of myself, something dark, something I have no control over, pull me down and set the tone for my life. And I just want to speak to this very directly, family, and say, some of you out there entertain dark, downward spirals way too often and way too easily. And let me be very clear. I understand the power of a trigger. I understand the feeling of seeing a notification, getting a message, getting an email that throws your whole day in a different direction. I understand how much one thing can affect us and throw us off and get into our brain. I get it. But I maintain some of us have gotten way too used to entertaining dark, downward spirals way too often, way too easily, because it feels familiar, or it feels safe, or it maybe even feels responsible. Like some part of you thinks that there's a value in going down that road. There's a value in, I gotta check the spiral at least. I gotta make sure there's nothing to be afraid of. I just have to pick it up again. I just have to check again. I just have to deconstruct this thing yet again. And I'm here to suggest to you today, on the basis of my own experience and 10 years of coaching experience and many, many, many principles, it is always worth it to go up. to choose to go upward, to deliberately go upward in any and all situations and circumstances. I'm here to suggest to you today, family, it's always worth it. I'm here to suggest to you today, it's always worth it to choose to go upward. And that might make you weird in some ways. That might make you different. That might make you counter-cultural. That might make you the only one in that friend group or in your workplace or in your neighborhood. That might make you the first one in your family. But it's always worth it. And for what it's worth, I want to share with you today, I personally believe that God is the lift beneath us. That I'm not responsible for my own lift. That I'm not in it by myself. That it doesn't all depend on me. To quote the cheesy 80s ballad, I can say it this way, that God is the wind beneath my wings. God is the lift. Would you let God lift you today, even as this song plays? Would you let God raise your frequency, elevate your mindset, take your beliefs to a higher place? Would you let God move you higher in this season of your life? But I wanted to start here with the law of lift. Because family, can we recognize today, there is no forward without upward. There is no flight at 0 feet. Flight is best somewhere around 35,000 feet into the atmosphere. There is no forward without upward. And I felt like we had to do it in this order, with this one being the first law we talked about today, because I really feel somebody listening right now, the reason you have felt so stuck, the reason everything has felt so difficult, the reason you haven't been able to move forward, it is an issue of height, an issue of lift, an issue of elevation. There is no forward without upward. And if you get stuck in a low-level mindset, if you get stuck in a low-level frequency, if you get stuck in a dark, defeated, discouraged place, it might feel incredibly difficult to make any progress and move forward at all. So we've got to remember, family, there is no forward without upward. So number one is the law of lift. It's lift versus gravity, family, and we're choosing lift today. And then number two is the law of thrust. Not a move of the hips on the dance floor, but a powerful energy. And so if you're in the comments, number one, law of lift. Number two, law of thrust. I actually believe this is going to be simple enough. You don't have to take notes. And hopefully it will still stick with you, even on your first listen. And you're welcome to come back. You can listen as many times as you want to this mix, any episode, but I'm hoping these two laws will stick with you even from a single listen. The law of lift and the law of thrust that make flight possible. Now, I told you with both of these, there's a lower law and a higher law in play. And we just spent a few moments talking about the law of lift versus the law of gravity. But now on number 2, I want to talk about the law of thrust versus the law of drag. Not drag as in drag queens in West Hollywood, but drag in the air. Drag is the force that resists the motion of the aircraft. I didn't plan this, but I feel like it's actually very fitting with this song that's been playing, because people have this imagery as if there's an angel on one side of my shoulder and a devil on the other side. There's two influences, two voices speaking to me. And in the spirit of that, we could say it this way. Gravity is the force in the equation that resists going higher. And in the same way, drag is the force in the equation that resists going forward. I kind of want to help somebody identify and understand and make sense of the resistance you've been feeling. Gravity is the energetic force that resists you going higher, and drag is the energetic force that resists you going forward. And I want to suggest to you today that often there is a force, an energy, a phenomenon we can feel in the invisible realm that many, many, many ancient texts have described with all kinds of different language, but it's a force that tries to stop us from moving forward. I'm wondering, as you listen to this, wherever you are today, family, have you felt a force in your life? And it's invisible. It's not super tangible. It's hard to describe, hard to process, hard to put into words. But do you ever feel like there's a force, there's something going on that stops you from moving forward? I believe on an energetic level, drag is often based in the resistance tied to our past. And so we have to talk about, however comfortable or uncomfortable it might be, family, we have to talk about for a moment, what is your relationship to your past? Are you free from it? Are you a prisoner to it? Are you addicted to it? Are you trapped by it? Are you overly attached to it? Take a moment and just consider, what is my relationship to my past? I want to ask you today, family, what part of you is tied to your past? What part of you keeps looking backwards even as another part of you is trying to move forward? What part of you is maintaining a loyalty to your past? See, the thing that strikes me as interesting here is nearly everybody I've coached over 10 years would tell me, Stephen, I want to move forward. Obviously, I'm here because I want to move forward. Who wouldn't want to move forward? And yet, some people get confused because if it really is true that I want to move forward, why am I not? If it really is true that all of me wants to move forward, why do I keep sabotaging? If it really is true that I want to move forward, what have I been doing? And so we've got to be aware of, we've got to talk about, we've got to understand this force that every time I try to move forward, pulls me back. If we had a big elaborate budget and production and stage show for this, I would have put myself on strings like a puppet with a puppeteer so that strings could dramatically pull me backward. But I want you to envision, whether you're watching me or just listening to me right now, you get the visual. I want it to get vivid, this energetic force that when we're trying to move forward pulls us backwards. And I want you to see, family, the connection of that energy and your past. Is it a person that you're trying to stay loyal to and that is pulling you back? Is it an identity and a way of seeing yourself that is holding you back and won't let you move forward? Is it a belief system that doesn't even belong to you, that somebody gave you in the past, that is constantly pulling you backward? Is it a comfort zone that you don't want to leave, that is tugging on you, pulling you back? Is it your ego that is just simply terrified of anything changing, that is forever pulling you back? Just keep it the same, just keep it the same, just keep it the same. I am praying that as you listen today, you would identify, and your intuition would identify, and God would help you identify the strings that have been pulling you back. And I'm here to tell you today, I'm here to speak over you. It's not always going to be that way. It's not always going to look like that. It's not always going to feel like that. And it's time to release. It's time to let those strings go. Stop rehearsing the past. Stop returning to the past again and again and again in your mind. Stop living there. Stop holding on to it. Stop being loyal to it. Some of you I know have had amazing success and amazing achievements and amazing memories in the past. But the past has become this obsession of yours. And you're worried that the good old days are behind you. You're worried that it's only downhill in a bad way from here. You're worried that nothing in the future could ever live up to that. And you really need to let go of those strings. You know, this force of thrust. Number 2, the law of thrust. Thrust requires an acceleration of energy. I'm here to tell you today, when you allow the energy to become momentum, you automatically move forward. But the flip side of that is, when you allow the energy to slow down and stall, it can feel nearly impossible to move forward. And so, yes, we acknowledge we don't just want motion for the sake of motion. We don't just want motion no matter what, even if it's in the wrong direction. But an object that is in motion, it is true, is most likely to remain in motion. Some of you need to let the energy build. Some of you need to let the energy grow. Some of you need to stop cutting yourself off the second you start to get a little bit of traction. You say, Stephan, how would I know if I was doing that? Well, I'll tell you a couple secrets. I'll tell you a couple hints and places to look. If you find yourself complaining about things you used to pray for, you might be cutting off your own momentum. If you find yourself now calling a burden what you used to see as a blessing, you might cut off your own momentum. If you find yourself experiencing all of your success as overwhelm rather than abundance, you might get tempted to cut off your own momentum.
Call me restless from the pace. When you're lost, out of breath. When you're howling for a place to know that the pain.
And I was telling Brian before we recorded that part of the reason I'm so passionate about this message today is because I want to encourage the person out there who has been experiencing what we could call opposing forces, what we could call lower laws. I feel like I'm here on assignment today to encourage the person who has been up against gravity, to encourage the person who has been up against drag, an energy stopping you from going higher, and an energy stopping you from going forward. I want to speak to somebody who feels like, Stephan, progress doesn't always feel automatic for me. Expansion doesn't always feel automatic for me. Receiving doesn't always feel automatic for me. And I know there are messages out there that make it sound like that is how it is supposed to work. But I'm here today to bring you some clarity, some honesty, some relief. I think many of you know I am the biggest believer in receiving through grace. I am the biggest believer in ease. I am the biggest believer in living in the blessing day in and day out. But I have to speak about this frankly and directly and honestly. And God, I pray that I can word it well, and I pray that this helps somebody, because I feel like there are messages out there that make it sound like if it's not automatic, something's wrong with you. If you face resistance on a regular basis, something's wrong with you. If everything doesn't happen for you easily, instantaneously, immediately, something's wrong with you, or you must not be as skilled, you must not be as advanced at manifesting. And there's messages out there that portray it as if there's no gravity energetically, as if there's no drag energetically, as if there's nothing in the energetic realm that would hold you down or hold you back. And I just want to acknowledge today that that's not true. I just feel like this is a space, this is a community where we can tell the truth about the full picture. That there are, in fact, dynamics at play that will keep you stuck if you let them. keep you right where you are, keep you from changing anything. You know, I hinted at this earlier, but ego's number one fear is anything changing, period. The only thing ego trusts is the past. The only thing ego trusts is what has come before. The only thing ego trusts is the status quo, the known, the familiar. And so even just on a very basic level, understanding that mechanism of self-protection, can we recognize there's a part of us, and it's not a monster. It's doing its best. It's doing what it thinks it's right. It's doing what it thinks it's supposed to do to keep us safe. But there's a part of us that will always resist change, resist the new, resist the unknown. Don't take that as a sign, family. Please don't take that as a sign, and please don't let that stop you. I'm not trying to have a big head as I record this, but I feel a significance, a timeliness, an importance to this message today, that somebody is listening to this and you are about to quit. You are about to give up. You are about to make it mean something. You are about to stop. You are about to take it as a sign. You are about to sabotage. You are about to do this very thing that we're talking about. And I just want you to be encouraged. If it feels like a battle sometimes, if it feels like it takes effort, if it feels like, why do I have to keep making this choice deliberately over and over again? I want you to be encouraged. You're not alone. I also want to say, family, as we begin to understand this principle, moving forward, can I encourage you? Pay attention to what stops you from flight. Pay attention to what stops you from flight. Can I invite you to ask yourself and to just begin to observe what pulls you lower every single time? What brings your energy down? What brings your mood down? What brings your mindset down? What brings your frequency down? What brings your ability to be present down? Family, I want you to observe what pulls you lower. I'll give an embarrassing personal example. The other night, I accidentally went to bed with my phone in the room and my phone on sound on, which meant, without me realizing it, because it wasn't enough to fully wake me up, just enough to give me a crappy night of sleep that a Fitbit or an Oura Ring could detect, it meant that by accident I had sounds going off all night, just ensuring you're not going to get any really deep sleep. And let me tell you, waking up the next morning after that accidental night of sleep did not feel good. And this is a very minor, inconsequential example, but I remember noticing, that really did have an effect. I don't feel great today. I can feel the less than ideal, subpar night of sleep I just had. And I share that example just to say it can be a little thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be a quote-unquote bad thing. But family, I want you to observe what pulls you lower every time. In the same way, I want you to begin to ask yourself and to observe what always directs my attention backwards. And this is a big one. Listen, if you didn't walk away from this mix with anything else but these two questions that you could use as a point of awareness in your life, it would be worth the whole episode. What pulls me down? What pulls me backwards? Family, if you can observe these two things for yourself, it will make such a difference. Because you can make a choice when it comes to a lot of that energetic gravity, and you can make a choice when it comes to a lot of that energetic drag. And I don't know why this was the specific example that I felt led to speak to here, but I want to speak to it. Some of you have people in your life, friends in your life, circles socially in your life. And with those people, you have shared history, but not shared destiny. And do you see the problem there? You like them because of the shared history, but you're out of alignment with destiny. You're out of alignment with your future. You're out of alignment with your vision. And so it feels comfortable. It feels normal. It feels familiar to be around them because of shared history. But if you only have shared history and not shared destiny, how could they not keep accidentally, perhaps, pulling you back? So before I share the keys thought, as I call it now, I want every single person, pause it if you have to. Take out a notebook if you have to. Sit down if you have to, whatever. But I want every single person to really take a second and sit with these two questions. I want you to leave this mix beginning to be aware of, beginning to observe in your life what pulls me lower and I can realize it's happening. What pulls me backward and I can realize it's happening. I'm telling you, if you can learn from that, that's a $10,000 breakthrough for somebody today. Now, keys thought, as it's now pretty much built into Rave Church, that every time I have a keys thought before we wrap up with the final climactic set of songs. There's a lot of takeaways, honestly, a lot of practical things, a lot of ideas that I want people to take away from today. And I really do hope that you share in the comments with me what speaks to you, what resonates with you, what you will be taking forward. I can't wait to find out what spoke to Brian most in this mix. But let me just say this. I want to take a moment and speak to, what do you do when you find yourself in a moment where you don't really know what to do next? You don't know what the next step is necessarily. You don't know what your best next move is. And maybe you're still waiting on guidance. Maybe you're still figuring out exactly what the vision is, what your purpose is, what your calling is. What do you do in a moment like that? And you can just discreetly give me a little sneaky hand-raised emoji in the comments if you want to let me know, Stefan, that's me. Because I know sometimes in the motivational world, people make it sound like everybody has to have a picture-perfect vision board vision, and everybody has to have a deeply spiritual sense of calling, and everybody has to know exactly what they're supposed to do with my life. And I want to acknowledge, there are 12-year-olds watching this. There are people who just got divorced, just got laid off, just got fired, figuring out what's next in a transition they didn't see coming. There are people who just moved halfway around the world and are wondering if it was a big mistake. There are so many people in so many different walks of life tuning in. And I know not everybody has a crystal clear vision. Not everybody feels like I know exactly what my purpose is. I know exactly my next move. So here's what I want to say. When you don't know all of that, when you don't have all of that, when you're not sure, you know what always is the right call, family? Go upward, go forward. When you're still figuring the rest out, you know what you can always do? Go upward, go forward. When you're still trying to discern what is wise, what is correct, the clarity you need in a situation, you know what you can count on? Go upward, go forward. When you're trying to figure out what part of this is from God and what part is not, you know what you can count on being a good choice? Go upward, go forward. in any way that you possibly can. And what I have found to be true is, and this is where the momentum connection kicks in, sometimes the reason people can't find clarity, the reason people can't get back to feeling like themselves again, the reason people feel so stuck is because they are simply in a position where they have blocked any and all momentum. And if you can just get back to momentum, I really feel this for someone today. There are desires waiting for you there. There are dreams waiting for you there. You're going to remember what you love again. There's passion waiting for you there. There's purpose waiting for you there. Somebody listening to this today, the best thing that you could do for yourself, even if there's some things you're figuring out, even if there's some things that feel messy, even if there's some things in progress, let yourself get some momentum. It's always the right choice to go higher. And it's always the right choice to go forward. And you can do that clumsily. You can do that while still figuring it out. You can do that while you still need to heal. You can do that healing on the go. You can do that while you're still a work in progress. But it's always the right choice to go up. It's always the right choice to go forward. And so if you're in a low place of discouragement, I've playfully referenced before a certain insurance company that has a slogan that says, "Get to a better state." Actually, I was very impressed. That was really, maybe it's just the speakers and this microphone, but that sounded really professional, commercial-esque. Get to a better state, family. But I've playfully referenced it before because I think there's a wisdom to get to a better state. And for the person who is listening to this in a low place of discouragement and defeat and fatigue and exhaustion and apathy and nothing feels enticing anymore, nothing feels desirable anymore, you don't need to go from that to a fairy tale overnight. And you don't need to know all of the next steps, and you don't need to figure out all of your future. But I am praying that God will guide you and support you in whatever would help you get to a better state. Because I promise you that is worth doing. I promise you that is the right move. And I am praying you get all the support you need to do that if that's where you find yourself. And I would say the same thing to the person who is repeating the same day or the same year over and over again. The person stuck in a pattern, the person stuck in their past. You may say, well, Stefan, I don't know what my future can look like. I don't know about all of that. But you can make a choice in some way, shape, or form to go forward. Maybe you can make a choice today to walk away from something. Maybe you can make a choice today. I'm not going to have one more conversation reliving or rehashing that. Maybe you can make a choice today. I'm not going to keep looking back there for what only exists for me forward. It's always the right choice to go upward. It's always the right choice to go forward. And may I just say, family, RAVE Church is here for you to support you in all of that and both of those things. Right before we play the next song, let me just share a partner in this community, and shout out partners, lovegrovepartners.com, but a partner in this community, actually an OG partner. I'm pretty sure the first partner I ever had, and someone who has been connected to me and a part of my world since 2015 when I was periscoping from a Disneyland parking lot. If you know, you know. And that's like 1% or less of people watching this, listening, know about the Disneyland parking lot. But this partner messaged me and they said, Stefan, I haven't listened to you in a while. I don't even know why. But you sent me a message today, and I was reminded that I should listen. Because they said, I know how I feel when I listen to you consistently. And by the way, this is a spiritual principle. This is not about me. We're here for you. Rave Church is here for you, but there's a million other things that you could use as resources for the same effect. So please don't hear this story as it all comes back to Rave Church and the Stephen Lovegrove Show. I hope we can be this for you. If we're not, I don't know why you're still listening 90 minutes in, but it's not about me, it's about the principle. They said, when I listen to this, to something good, something true, something rooted in love, when I listen consistently, I actually know what it does for me. I actually know the influence it has. I actually know how I feel. And when I don't, they said, you kind of caught me right now in a moment of realizing it's been a while. I haven't been consistent lately. It's been a while since I listened. It's been a while since I connected. It's been a while since I tuned in. And I can feel that. I can feel that impact. I can feel that ripple effect. I can feel how that has influenced me. And so again, this is not to just plug this show or this episode or it must be this, but I want to say, family, there is so much of this equation energetically that we've been talking about today that you have a say, you have power, you have a choice. And so I just want to encourage you, when you start to recognize the things that do pull you back and pull you down, you have a choice. You can do something with that information. And in the same way, when you find things, and I pray that this community, I pray that this content, I pray that these mixes can be this for you. And if they are, you are welcome to listen a little bit every single day, and I highly recommend. But when you find things that do lift you higher, even automatically when you listen, when you find things that do pull you forward and keep your vision on what's in front of you, you can also make a choice there. You can also do something with that information. Let's play the song. Let's wrap up with a couple more hits, family. And I'll actually confess to you, I was going to play John Mayer's Gravity because I do think that song very well expresses that you don't even have to be spiritual to get this concept that John is singing about of, I want to be better, I want to grow, I want to not ruin my good, my fame, my success. Why does it feel like there's a thing working against me? I wanted to play that because it's so vivid about the principle, but I thought, by this point in the mix, certainly, we need optimism. We need inspiration. We don't need John. We love you, John, but we don't need John singing to us about gravity. We need to go higher. So it's going to be cheesy. It's going to be nostalgic, and you're going to love it. Play that track.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction.
Do you see how in the spirit of this mix today, she acknowledges in this song, there's a voice in my head telling me crazy things, telling me I'm not gonna make it, but I get to choose to tune it out. Come on, Miley.
Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. It ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb.
I had to pick this song because there's an energy in it that says, sometimes it might feel uphill. Sometimes the feelings might be all over the place. Sometimes I might even be tempted to give up, but I still have a choice. And I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going higher. I'm gonna keep going forward. I'm here to tell you, family, you're going higher. You're going forward. and nothing can stop you. I decree and declare over you as you hear this mix. God is right now giving you strength to rise higher. God is right now giving you acceleration to go forward. God is right now giving you renewal for momentum, momentum, momentum. The gravity will not stop you this year. No power, no circumstance, no mountain is going to stop you this year, family. It's your season of taking flight. Going higher than you ever have before. Going further than you ever have before. God is doing a new thing right now, and so are you, so are you, so are you. Let me know if you receive it in the comments. I am feeling this overflowing energy, and we're not even on the finale. Thank you, Miley. Thank you, Brian, for the mix. And we have one song left, family, with a title that I think is so appropriate. Our finale song today is called Don't Look Down. And I picked this song because, family, isn't that sometimes what we have an instinct to do that's a wrong instinct? Isn't that sometimes what we think is going to keep us safe? Just to be safe, I better look down. I better keep checking. I better look at the ground. I better look at my past. I better look backwards, just in case, just to be safe. And as we end today, I want to tell you, family, the opposite is true. Stop looking at the ground. Stop looking backwards. Family, you're taking flight. Don't look down. Doesn't it feel good to be at 35,000 feet?
Are your hands shaking? Are your fists breaking? Are you climbing?
What a good lyric. Somebody's fears are breaking in consciousness right here and now, family. The energy's changing, the pressure is changing. Your consciousness is changing right here and now, and so is your life. You don't need to look down, not now, not ever again. You don't need to look backwards, not now, not ever again. It's a new moment, it's a new season, it's a new day. And you're taking flight. pray that you can feel it the way we feel it in this room, family. Letting go of anything that's been holding you down. Letting go of anything that's been pulling you back. You're free to fly. And this is RAVE Church. Thank you for being here with us on the virtual dance floor today. In just a moment or two, I want to pray with you and for you to wrap this up. So regardless of where you happen to be physically right now, listening to this mix, I hope that you're able to stay with me to the end and to receive that gift. You know, I will never forget someone telling me last year, I believe it was, that I was the first person in their entire life who ever spoke a blessing over them. Now, that simultaneously moved me, but also broke my heart. Because everybody deserves to have a blessing spoken over them, if you ask me. And I know that people listen to these from all different walks of life and backgrounds and belief systems. So you may not consider yourself spiritual or religious or anything like that whatsoever. That's okay. You are still invited to receive this prayer, and I am still blessing you into all the goodness available in this whole world, because you are deeply and unconditionally loved. So we will do that in just a bit. Before we get there, a couple of quick items to share. Now, in a typical podcast, this would be the section where the host said, we've got to keep the lights on around here. So we'll be right back after we pay some bills. And then they would read some ads, perhaps for sheets, perhaps for whitening, perhaps for clean products, or a cologne subscription, or wine that can come to your door, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fortunately, we don't read any ads here, because every one of these episodes and every one of these mixes is partner supported by people just like you. But we do have announcements and follow-ups after every episode, because there is so much happening in this community, tons of resources available for free, and really there's transformation waiting for you here should you decide to get involved. So every single item that I am about to share is only being mentioned because it has the potential to benefit your life. That is the heart behind all that I do. See what resonates, see what speaks to you today as we conclude RAVE Church Volume 17. First of all, I want to go back to two resources that I briefly mentioned during the mix. If you want to listen to my episode about 3 things that I do every single day to stay in momentum, we have linked that here in the episode description. It is a great follow-up episode of the Stephen Lovegrove Show that you can listen to. If this one in particular, if this message and this theme spoke to you today. So once again, that is the episode all about 3 things that I do every day to maintain momentum. Find it in the episode description. You may have also heard me mention the series that I did last year, 77 Days of Grace, which was a spectacular journey of opening up to receiving on a whole new level for so many people all around the world. It really is true, family. Grace is a higher law than karma, and there is a truth in that principle and in that series that will change your whole life if you let it. So, That series is also available as a free resource for you. That's 77 Days of Grace, an entire series of episodes to open your heart along that theme. And we will link that here as well in the episode description for your convenience. Now, as always, I want to take a moment and shout out my partners, the amazing and generous people just like you who give to support my work on a consistent basis. Partners, it is because of you and thanks to you that we can give away all of these episodes and all of these resources as a gift to anyone who wants them. Thank you for being a part of the family here. And I am proud to be able to say, as of the time of this recording, we have given away over $1 million worth of funding, resources, and support since I started a platform online. In fact, just recently as a community, we have fed 1,000 children in need directly. That matters to God, and so that matters to us, and we want to make a tangible difference in people's lives everywhere that we can. Now, if you enjoy these mixes and have benefited from them and you would like to replenish the well that you draw from here by supporting Stephen Lovegrove Ministries, these are the two best ways I'm about to share with you that you can help us out and join the family. Number one, recurring gifts provide a stable foundation for me to do this work consistently and to support people on a daily basis. As with all the items I'm mentioning here at the end, you're probably noticing a theme. There is a link in the episode description for this as well. We are currently moving towards a goal with our monthly recurring giving to support operations around here. And at the time of this recording, we are just around $3,000 away from that total, from that goal that we're moving towards. So, if you would like to commit to give monthly today, any amount, any level, any number you choose, thank you. We joyfully receive that at lovegrovepartners.com. All of the options are available for you there, and you will see the button to give consistently at lovegrovepartners.com. Number two, second way that you can best help us out if you want to be a part and give to Stephen Lovegrove Ministries. Many of you know I believe wholeheartedly in the spiritual practice of tithing. Very simply, partnering with God in this very important area of our finances by giving the first 10% every single time we receive. I know many of you know my story, but I have practiced this for 15 years and counting, and I would never not tithe because it has taken me places I never dreamed. Thank you, God. But I wanted to speak to this directly for just a moment because I've had this conversation privately with at least 3 people recently. And so I know that there are people out there wondering, how exactly do I do this? And how should I calculate it exactly? Or how should I figure out the number to give? My recommendation is this. For every entrepreneur, leader, and business owner out there, I would submit to you today, the best business decision you might ever make is to tithe from your business. Getting God involved and claiming spiritual principle and divine promises on your behalf in that way. And so I would invite you to do that here. if you feel called, from your business account as a spiritual practice and also as a sound investment. Now, a couple of people have just recently stepped in and taken on this challenge themselves in our community, and I'm going to give it to you today. You are welcome to join. I offer to people the 120-day test it out experiment. And I offer this to every single entrepreneur and business owner listening today who has not tried this out for yourself yet. I encourage you, I invite you, we could even say I dare you to tithe from your business for the next 120 days and see what happens. I'll give you a little spoiler alert. Expect supernatural provision. Expect miracles. Expect something that only God can do. As always, it is more important to me that you test this out for yourself than anything else. So if you don't feel comfortable giving here, or you have another community that you want to use for the experiment instead, do that. I encourage that by all means. But please consider making God your business partner. Test this out for yourself and watch what happens. And for those of you who do want to support my work, you are most certainly invited to tithe from your business into Stephen Love Grove Ministries. This is good ground that will always take your generosity seriously and will always take a stand for a message of unconditional love, the fact that God wants to prosper you, and the power of faith. Because after all things are possible for the one who believes. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for every partner, for every person committing to give monthly today, and for every person taking me up on the challenge and tithing from your business as a leader. I see you, I celebrate you, and I bless you into more than you could ever ask, dream, think, or imagine. Right before we pray, if today's episode spoke to you, I will once more invite you to share it with a friend. The best way that good things in the world expand is when they are shared. And if every single fan of this show shared it today with someone that they know is into dance music and into spirituality, our RAVE fam would literally double overnight, and that excites me tremendously. Wow. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you beyond what words can express. Let's take a moment to pray together as we conclude today under the lights and under the disco ball. God, who is my source, my shepherd, and my friend, thank you for the person who is hearing the sound of my voice, praying with me right now. Thank you for who they are and who you created them to be. Thank you for all the twists and turns on their journey that have led them here. Thank you for this perfect present moment in which all things are possible. God, I recently heard it said that at any one moment in time, God is doing 40,000 different things in our lives and within us and for us, and typically we are only aware of maybe 3 or 4 of them at most. And that rings true in my experience. So, God, for each and every one of us who receives this prayer, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all the miracles that have unfolded in our story thus far. Thank you for all the times when you were in the picture, even if we didn't know it. And thank you for all that you are doing in our lives and in our stories that we don't yet consciously know to celebrate. But we say thank you anyway. We celebrate in advance. God, I pray that for every single person who listens to Rave Church on a regular basis or even one time, that these mixes and the message within them would help us understand our lives. God, there are laws and principles in this universe. It's not just random. It's not all coincidence. It is certainly not meaningless. And so, for the person praying with me now, thank you for empowering them. Thank you for helping them to grasp these laws and principles in a whole new way. Thank you for helping them understand their life, to see it differently, to see it with a fresh lens, fresh vision, fresh perspective. Thank you, God, for this truth, that we are heir to the laws we identify with. And in this moment, we begin to claim something new. In this moment, we begin to live into something new. I speak over the person praying with me right now that they are a child of God, which means that they are an heir to all of the inheritance. Thank you, God, for that truth. And thank you, God, for helping it sink in for them at a deeper level today. Though it wasn't the main point or the main message of this mix, God, I really did feel led to emphasize for somebody today this idea that grace is a higher law than karma. And I just want to pause here and return to this idea once more. For the person who has been plagued by guilt and shame and regret, for the person praying with me now who can't forgive themselves or move past that mistake, that thing they did, for the person who is exhausted from a never-ending loop of achievement, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, feeling like they are in it all by themselves, I decree and declare that this good news is reaching them right where they are. That if you have been forgiven, you have everything else, and you have indeed been forgiven, that it is finished. There is nothing left to prove. And that grace is a higher law than karma, that there is a grace to hold us, to catch us, to embrace us, even when we fall. That there is a grace that is always in motion on our behalf, even when we don't pick the right thing at cause and effect. God, I pray that someone would breathe this truth in today, that just maybe grace is the original cause. Love is the original cause. God is the original cause. And that rewrites their story when they receive that. That redefines their story. Thank you, God, for guiding me through several different moments and experiences in human beings to these truths about flight and the laws that make flight possible. I pray that people would be so encouraged today, that they would leave so encouraged that they are not the only one who experiences gravity. They are not the only one who experiences energy that tries to pull them down or drag them backwards, prevent them from moving forward. That they are not the only one who is up against resistance. God, I pray that you would illuminate for every single one of us the things that have been holding us back, that we couldn't see clearly until now, the things that have been dragging us down that we couldn't see clearly until now. Thank you for opening our eyes. Thank you for showing us the decisions that will move the needle for us in a mind-blowing way in the days to come. Thank you for helping us in the places where we have felt stuck or lost or confused. I speak over the one praying with me now, that from today, from this moment forward, they are moving forward. I pray that we all breathe in this energy as we leave this mix. Rising higher, moving forward. Rising higher, moving forward. Thank you, God. This is the trajectory we step into that leads us to ever-growing momentum. Rising higher and moving forward. We release right now all attachment to the past. We release the tendency to keep looking back there or using it as our reference point or defining ourselves that way. We release all attachment to those old identities, those old ways of seeing ourselves, those old patterns that do not serve us. God, for the person listening today who has felt stuck, who hasn't known what is supposed to come next, who has been unsure how to proceed in this current season of their life, I pray that what I shared with the keys playing would speak to them and support them. I pray that you would, in a personalized, individualized, customized way, speak to them and support them right now. They may not know everything. They may not have all the answers. But thank you, God, that you are meeting them right where they are at. Thank you, God, that you are supporting them in getting to a better state. Thank you, God, that even if they don't know the big picture or all of the details about their future or all of the vision, you are supporting them in rising higher, beginning right now. You are supporting them in moving forward in any way that they can, in any way that they feel called to, beginning right now. God, I bless every person who is stepping into momentum today. I bless every person who is choosing to rise higher. I bless every person who is choosing in any way, shape, or form to release the past and move forward. God, I bless every single one of my partners, and I especially bless all of the new partners who have joined recently. You know who they are, and they know who they are. I bless every single person who is becoming a partner today. And I pray over every single partner right now. May every need in their world always be met, without question, without hesitation, and without fear. May they live in complete freedom, free from all debt, with anything unwanted being supernaturally and rapidly cleared. May they have million-dollar, multi-million-dollar, and even billion-dollar ideas that are a blessing to their family and simultaneously a blessing to the world. May they be able to give more and sow more this year than they ever have before, because they received more this year than ever before, and they are generous at the core. And may they always know their next step to take, knowing that you are the source. There is always more on the way. And they are always increasing, always expanding, always abounding all the days of their life. I am so grateful, God, for each and every person who has been with me today, with Brian and I today, here on the virtual dance floor. We take one more moment to just open up and receive. Is there anything else that we are meant to hear in this space? Are there any other messages that you have for us today? We allow ourselves to be still. We allow ourselves to listen. Pausing if needed, lingering here as long as we desire. And more than anything else, God, we just allow ourselves to be loved. Prayer is how love is received. Miracles are how love is expressed. And so I decree and declare that as we let ourselves be loved and let ourselves sit here and receive that love today, miracles are inevitable. Thank you for all the miracles in motion right now. Thank you, God, as I've done my best and Brian has done his best, and together we've done our best with this mix. Thank you that you met people where they were at and spoke to them in a personalized, customized, individualized way. I always affirm that over every single episode. For everybody praying with me now, I celebrate all the good that is on its way to them. I bless them into exceedingly, super abundantly, infinitely, and immeasurably more than they can ever ask, dream, think, or imagine. And I speak all of this in the name of the one who said, all things are possible for the one who believes. Together in faith, we are the ones who believe. And so it is, and so we are. Amen. That does it for us today, family. Rave Church, Volume 17. We will see you back here soon on the virtual dance floor. On behalf of DJ Brian Neville and I, thank you for spending these magical moments with us today. We believe in you, and we always will. The best is yet to come.